Welcome everybody. I appreciate you coming to today's video. Sherlock and I both do. If you're new to the channel, thanks for coming by. Again, my name is Rachel Clausen. You can find me on Instagram at Rachel Clausen, and this channel is all about fitness, lifestyle, and media, good vibes only. And today I am going to do a little kind of day in the life vlog, take you through a workout. We got legs, and I'm going to talk about how to start vlogging from one beginner to another. So if you're here, you probably see that I'm just getting into this as well, so maybe you're a beginner also, and it's fun watching all the videos and tips and tutorials and things and of all these YouTubers and Instagrammers and different people who are 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road and kind of have the hang of things and have gone through a lot of these early bumps in the road. But I thought, it'd be helpful and good for me to talk about getting started as a beginner while I'm still a beginner, and sharing some of the things I'm going through, some of the fears I'm trying to overcome, what I'm facing, and what it is I'm working on here, and that can hopefully help and inspire others. So chances are you're a beginner too. If you are, let's go and do this together. If you're not, if you actually know what you're talking about, then maybe let me know in the comments any tips that you have for me and the other beginner YouTubers out there. So let's go ahead and take us through the day. And I've got a couple meetings later this afternoon. I think I'm gonna hit the workout, so we'll talk through that. And I'll go through and I'm going to share through how I'm getting started, what I'm, my channel's about, the gear I'm deciding to use, and how I came up with those choices, how I kind of narrowed it down from picking a camera, a microphone, some of the people that I've found and started following that I've been paying attention to and getting tips from, and I can share their profiles, so maybe they'll be helpful for you as well. And we'll just see where this goes. So let's go. Alright, so I have a meeting coming up in a little bit, and I'm going to train right after that. So I've got my pre-workout meal, which is 2 packets of the maple brown sugar oatmeal. And of course, it's fall, so I had to mix a little pumpkin in there. So getting my carbs there, and then I'm just doing a 1.5 scoops of some whey protein. Because as you may or may not know, we don't want a whole lot of fats with our pre-workout meal, just want carbs and protein to fuel that training session. And so I got a little maple brown sugar pumpkin oatmeal and a chocolate protein shake. So see you there. Alright, so as you can see, I'm obviously in a garage gym, so I don't have access to some of the bigger machines that you would see in a commercial gym. And so as part of my pull day today, obviously I want to make sure I'm hitting my low back for at least an exercise or so. And so for me, a lot of times I'll do Superman's, pretty straightforward, don't need any equipment, just be on the floor. Or today, what I did, we have some resistance bands, did resistance band deadlifts kind of. And the trick is, I'll show you here in a second for my next set, but you want the band to kind of sit right at the base of your neck, top of your traps. You don't want it to be digging into your neck, obviously that wouldn't be good. So you want to put it on the meaty part right here, similar to where you put your barbell for back squats. And then the wider you move your stance, the harder it's gonna be, right? Because it'll be like a shorter band. So I do like feet shoulder width apart, put the band right here on like the meaty part of my back. And then also to ensure I'm targeting more my low back instead of like my hamstrings or my glutes, which this can, like with variations, can be a good exercise for that too. But right now my focus is low back, and so you'll see that I'm gonna go like full forward, but then when I come to the top, I'm gonna stop pretty short. I wanna keep that tension on my low back, and so I'm gonna come up and pause, back down, up, back down. So a great way to hit your low back if you don't have access to like that like machine thing where you can like lay over it and do like the reverse, whatever those things are called. So yeah. Okay, so I vlogged. We actually had a pull day today, not leg day, so just shared some of that footage in the garage gym. And so now to get into tips that, as promised, you know, from one beginner to another, how do we get started? How do I start vlogging? And so I have 5 tips to share that are helping me in this journey and getting going. And actually most of these I've heard from some of these other people that we see out there who are, you know, years down the road and have all this figured out already, but I'm finding these 5 to be super helpful for me. And so I'll just share them with you all and hope it helps. So tip number 1 is the most cliche one that we all hear, and that is to just start. Obviously, your first video, your first several videos are not going to be good, including this one for me. I'm sure it's like pretty terrible to watch, but it's fun making it, and I'm getting better with each one I make. And just the more you do, the more comfortable you'll get, and the better videos will get, the better you'll get at editing, the better you'll get at just planning things out, and you'll get faster, and it won't seem like as much of a daunting task. And so you just keep at it. I know we'll get there at some point. Tip number 2 is don't worry about the gear. I know everyone says that as well, but it's true. Like, our phones have pretty good cameras, and honestly, I did my first few just with my iPhone. I think I have an iPhone 11, and I still keep shooting some stuff, pictures and video with my iPhone, because sometimes it's just handy. It's nice and small and don't have this big old camera to lug around. But yeah, so if all you have is your phone, like, don't let that hold you back. I'm sure you can get great footage and just start getting started with that. And when you do decide you're ready to upgrade and get like a regular camera and setup, what I did is I just started on YouTube. I started looking like best camera for vloggers, best beginner camera, etc. And in my case, I have the goal of I wanted a camera that I could grow into, something that I could eventually shoot like professional photography with, and maybe do some like professional video with. And so I didn't want like a super entry-level camera. I wanted something that was a little more intermediate. And I went back and forth between like Canon and Sony was who I had really kind of narrowed it down to. But ultimately, this is the one I decided on, is the Canon Rebel T8i. So far I'm loving it. It is a DSLR instead of a mirrorless, so it's got a little bigger body, which I find just better to use. Like, I feel like it just handles better. It felt more comfortable in my hand. And I went with a Rode the Mic Mini, which has been great. Came with a little dead cat, plugs right into my camera. And then I went with a Joby, one of the little bendy tripod. I just got the small one for now, because that's pretty handy. I do have a full size, just like cheap tripod from Amazon that my camera can mount on as well, but the Joby is the one that's nice to take around. You can use it as like a selfie stick. You can wrap it around like a tree if you're out doing like stuff out and about at a park or something. And in the gym, like, I can wrap it around the rack to get like some cool angles and stuff. So that is my core setup that you're seeing here. that I've decided to go with when I was ready to kind of up my game a little bit. And I can make another video on like the specs of like why I chose the Canon T8i and all that, if that sounds interesting. But that's one I went with. I would just say when you get to that point, do your research and go into a store and test them out and see what works for you. Tip number 3 is, I don't think you'll really continue with this, or you won't really get anywhere if you don't answer the question of why you wanted to start vlogging in the first place. Like, what is it that you're trying to accomplish, that you're trying to put out into the world? If you don't have a why or a reason, it's just probably going to be this like spiral of random stuff that won't be interesting even to yourself. And so, you know, take some time, put some thought into figuring out what you're trying to do with your channel, what you're trying to get out into the world. For me, it all started because I hired a personal trainer. I want to start documenting my fitness journey, and then that's led to me getting more heavily involved and interested in photography and videography and wanting to take that to the next level. And so all those kind of things combined is my why, and I'm, you know, finding it to be enjoyable and something I want to keep up with. And so that takes me to tip number 4, which is to challenge yourself. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have, again, like a reason, something you're working towards, a little bit of pressure that you put on yourself to put things out there, then you're always going to just be pushing it off to the next day. Think, oh, like I'll get to it tomorrow or the next day, and eventually, you know, someday becomes never. And so for me, I'm challenging myself to put up at least 1 video a week. I might even come into some free time and try to do like a little bit of a daily vlog for a little bit. We'll see how that goes. But for now, my first challenge is just do 1 a week. So starting with this one right here, and we'll take it from there. And lastly, if you made it this far, tip number 5 is to not sell yourself short. We all kind of have these internal insecurities that hold us back and keep us from wanting to go out and just do that thing. And if you're here watching this video, then maybe that thing for you is starting a vlog or doing something in the social media universe. And so don't think that because you're not, you know, some expert level like some of these other people that we follow and have channels with like millions of subscribers, don't think that you have to start at that point now. They all started where we are as beginners, and so if you just, you know, keep up with those other 4 tips and maybe some others that you've learned along the way, and don't hold yourself back, then, you know, one day you can be probably the person in a few years that someone else is making a video like this, being like, oh man, this person was my inspiration, and you'll remember where you started. So hope that was a helpful and enjoyable video for you guys today. Like I said, I'm a beginner, so this is what we're starting with, and they'll just continue to get better. But like I said, 1 video a week, gonna put it up every Friday, and so we'll see you at the next one.